Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and I feel like shit today. But I do feel a lot better. How do you feel today? What do you do when you feel like absolute crap? You feel like, what am I doing here? Is this what life is supposed to be? Is this what I wanted with my life? Where am I? So I'm taking you straight from my tiny home. So this is my tiny home. This is one corner, but then the end is literally right behind the camera. It's very small. And yeah, you might hear some chickens because I'm right next to the chicken coop in the countryside. But yeah, so today, last night, it was the end of the full moon, or it was the end of the moon, and we're going into the new one. And I didn't really realize this, but last night I kind of had an existential thing, which was I was watching this racing show where they have the racers. It's called Rush, and the main character has like a hot girlfriend, and I'm just like, I want to be the hot girlfriend. Why can't I be the hot girlfriend? Dumbest thought, right? Do you ever want to be the hot girlfriend? I guess like if you're not already the hottest person in the room, don't you sometimes want to be the hottest person in the room? Hell, I mean, wouldn't you want to be the hottest person in the room? This is a tangent, but I think really hot people don't understand that people who are not hot because they don't choose to be. They're not hot because they just can't get that same genes. So everyone wants to be hot, they just don't have it. But anyways, I was watching this show and I saw this hot person and I thought to myself, I want to be hot. Like, why can't I be walking around in my short shorts and hanging with my tits out or something like that? And that's a really like kind of flaccid way of explaining it. But there's something deep down in there that kind of resonated with me, which I think was these women are living their life in their full bloom, their full glory, and they're celebrating it, they're getting exposure, they're flirting, they're living life to the maximum experience. And I feel like I'm not doing that right now. I felt like right now I'm in this weird incubation space where I'm actually focusing a lot more on business and professional stuff. And that kind of makes me feel like I'm still missing out on a slice of life. And maybe this is the age thing to think about. If you're a woman, if you identify as a woman, then there's also this element of age that suddenly comes into play, doesn't it? Do you feel like age has created some kind of a clock for you where either you feel like it's too late, or perhaps you feel like you only have so much time until X happens? I only have so much time until I can find my husband. I only have so much time to experience life as a beautiful woman who's then going to be seen as old, which means there's all of these other rules societally that kind of come into play. Even if I don't want to adhere to them, people are going to see me differently. People are going to be less friendly to me. People are going to just treat me differently. These kinds of things. Do you ever think about those? I think the nice thing to say is age is just a number, and that I guess this video is about age. Well, I've been thinking a lot about death, all right? So I've been thinking a lot about where do we draw the line, right? Like, if I'm 40, is my beauty going to stop? What does that mean in terms of my availability to someone that I want to be attracted to or find me attractive? What is that going to mean about me being here present on social media? If I'm super old, are you still going to listen to me? Or are you going to prefer to go check out the hot 22-year-old trans girl? There's plenty of those, by the way, but they don't have a lot to say. I mean, they have a lot to say, don't get me wrong, but I don't find it very interesting. There's not a lot of philosophical aspect to it. But anyways, that's a whole nother, that's another topic. But kind of like back to your life and how you're thinking about your world and how you occupy it with time. Do you feel like you're getting the most out of it. And if you're not, what do you feel is getting in the way for you? What do you feel is blocking you from getting to that thing that you want to get? What is that thing that you want to get? Is it that house on the hill? Is it is it a husband? Is it a wife? Is it kids? What is it? Is it just like being able to be you, but perhaps you're too afraid to transition right now because you don't think either you'll pass or that you're too old or your whole family is not going to accept you? What is blocking you from living your best life, your most life? This is the thing that I started this channel for, because people should live their best lives. Don't you want to live that? I'm here to help. Like and subscribe. Actually, join my Discord community. There's a lot of cool people there, and if you want to talk to me and talk to other folks, we're hanging out there. But yeah, this is something I've been thinking about, and it's been somewhat in a trans setting, but it's also been in a non-trans setting, because you have the layers to it, right? You have, for me, it's been, am I living the most out of my youth? Then the next question is, when do I die? When I die, am I going to feel like I made the most out of my life? Am I making the most out of my life right now if I'm looking at the computer and I'm playing Magic the Gathering? Or am I going to be making the most of my life if I'm hiking out in the woods in the forest? I get anxiety about that. Do you? It freaking freaks me out, because when you start asking the big questions and you start thinking about life and where you're going and where it's ending and starting to look backwards on everything that you should do, so that way you don't regret the fact that when you're going to die, you're going to look back and say, oh my God, I didn't do enough. Or you're going to say, it was perfect. I did just the right amount. Or, maybe my work is done. And that's it. The Taoist way of doing things, right? I look a little too much into the future, I have to say. And I do rely a lot on my own future self calling back to me and telling me kind of like navigation poles. But there's one thing that I've learned in time, which is that the things you don't do, you regret super, super, super hard, right? Like, look back at your youth. Look back at when you were a kid. Look back at those moments in your life where you feel like you could have said something or done something that could have completely changed things, if you just had the courage to do it, right? And it seemed so big at the time, but really it's so small. I think of the first time I had this crush on a girl at school, and I just didn't ask her out. I didn't know how. I was 5. I don't know. I didn't know about sex. I didn't know about any of that, but I liked this girl. And we grew up in elementary school together. And by the time I was 10, I did know about sex. And obviously I wasn't trying to have sex, but I just liked this girl with my heart. I should have asked her out. We were the same age, by the way. God, that sounds weird. But yeah, like, where am I? Oh yeah, I'm living on a farm in Washington. I'm at this exact moment, I'm making investments in private equity to build my long-term financial success. I am in this long-distance relationship with my boyfriend in Germany, which is like kind of a blocker because it means I can't date or have sex. And I'm just like in the middle of nowhere, and really trying to do my best in just growing as a person and being a better person. So I think I'm doing well, but I feel like there's an element that's missing, and that's just the social element of being around people and putting yourself out there. So this is kind of a reflection and maybe an encouragement for you to think about where you are now, where do you want to be, and taking yourself to the end of things, how would you do things differently? How would you change your life now, knowing what you know in the future? maybe we should settle into a little bit of energy here. Give you a little bit of energy transference, a little bit of love. Close your eyes for a second. Put your hand on your heart. Just touch base. I know it's easy for us to get lost in our minds. So just put your hand on your heart and feel that, as if someone who loves you is putting their hand on your heart. It's you. You love yourself. You can give love to yourself. Listen to this. Listen to this heart. It's going to be able to guide you through the unknown. There's one more thing I wanted to share with you, this story. So today I didn't know what to do because I had this terrible feeling of just, what is life? Is this the end? Am I making the most out of my life? Am I doing the right thing? And I just went out into the forest and I went really, really far out down a path where it's suddenly transitioned from concrete to mud with all of these holes in it. And my car started to bump around. And I thought to myself, if I get stuck here, I don't really want to get stuck out here where there's no cell phone signal. I'm out in the wilderness in the mountains of the forest in Washington somewhere. I think I'm going to turn around. And so I turned around, knowing that ahead of me was the path to the waterfall trails that I wanted to go to. And on the ride back, I just kept feeling this sense of regret that I had turned around because I'd gotten scared mentally. I'd gotten scared and I played the safe route. And on my way back, I realized that this is what makes me regret things the most, is when I allow my fear to make me play it safe. Do you know what I mean? Do you know, have you ever said that to yourself? Just play it safe out of fear. And so the way back, I realized, you know what? That's not going to stop me. I still want something out of life, something that's going to give me this sense of completion to this trip. So I just pulled to the side and I went off into the woods, just like straight off to the woods. And you know what I found? I found a river. I found a waterfall. And at the very end, I saw at the waterfall, there was this bridge, it was not a bridge. It was just a bunch of wood and logs that were just kind of strewn across the waterfall area. And I thought to myself, this is it. This is the moment where I say I should turn around because I want to be safe. So then I walked up to it saying, I'm not turning around because if I do turn around, I'm going to regret it again. So I went up to it. I climbed up to the side of the river and the waterfall and then looked at the reality of things, which is that I actually couldn't make it safely on my own and that it was actually kind of a dangerous situation. And so my mind went, oh shit. And at that moment when I went, oh shit, that's when I knew I should turn around. And I think I want to bring that as an analogy to thinking about your own exploration in pushing your boundaries and to getting to places where you don't want to regret things. Maybe it's your fear most of the time playing it safe that's stopping you from trying things. And you should push yourself. But if you ever get to a moment where you go, oh shit, this is actually a bit at the edge of my actual safety, then turn around. And you'll feel fine about it. In fact, you'll feel great about it because you'll know. I mean, how would you feel about it? How I felt about it, I felt like I felt complete because I knew that I actually couldn't go past there without putting myself in actual danger. And knowing that gave me a sense of satisfaction versus not knowing that and always having that as an unknown, which I could draw back to my own analogy, transition, which is like, is that unknown, am I a woman? And if I don't explore that, and I play it safe and I don't check that out, then I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And the question for you is, are there things in your life that you want to check out so you don't regret them for the rest of your life? Right? You want to avoid regret. You want to live the most out of it because you're going to die. We're all going to die, right? Yeah, that's it. Join us on Discord. For my Ultra fans, please support me on Patreon. It really helps. And I'll see you in another episode soon. Please like and subscribe. Bye.